Hey, this ain't a drill. Only time I'm playing is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we bout to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. Everyone sick, make them pay me some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and hit and miss. Talk about the Bills, dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill when we talk about the Bills. Dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
What's going on? Welcome back to another live episode of the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I am your co-host Aramis,
and I missed y'all. We told y'all. Come over to our channel. So if you don't see us there, you'll see us there. Where were you? We didn't see you. You can't see.
Y'all missed a lot. Y'all missed a great show.
You missed some good shows. This is 40 Keys, though.
It's Evolution in the building. What's good?
What's up, Jenko Steele?
Jingo Steele?
Jenko Steele. That's what's on his hat. Jenko Steele.
First and foremost, we gotta give it up, my man Zoomer. Became a member. He's showing up in the chat. So, I mean, how does that work?
What's that?
Ain't Zoomer in the Discord chat?
I don't know.
I thought somebody gifted him. What's going on, Beth?
Maybe they did. What's going on?
Somebody gifted him.
Maybe they did, but you know what? It's fine. Zoomer's in the Zoomer's in the building.
He became one twice. Somebody paid for him. He paid for his own.
That's it.
Either way, I'm cool with it.
I'll take it.
Hey, we still got 2 openings for whoever's interested for our fantasy football league. That's coming up pretty quick.
I feel like it's gonna fill up. I feel like it will.
Yeah, we got 2 spots left. So,
Junior, you in it?
Next year. Oh, that's right. No. So he's taking this year to like study the game, practice. You know what I'm saying? All that. Like, I mean,
bro.
Next year.
They didn't gift you. Okay.
Bro.
Next year. Next year.
Hey, Beth, talk to Laura. Laura tell you her first year was last year. You know what I'm saying? She got some great coaching. She did pretty good.
Laura's first year was last year.
Next year.
Beth, come aboard. You got it.
Next year.
Yeah. He's standing strong on that one.
10 toes down. He gonna be Deion Sanders with 8 toes in a minute.
So let's do this. So just so everybody knows, we got a great show ahead of you, and we hope every show is great. But today we're gonna get into the question of how much credit Brandon Beane should get. I know in the thumbnail I'm also asking the question of is he victim or villain?
I'm gonna ride with that.
You gonna ride with what?
Victim or villain. I'm gonna go that premise is how I'm gonna go this time.
Okay.
Yeah. Ain't no sodium. Ain't no hate. Well, I do have some sodium. You ready for it? You gotta start the show off. I was thinking about it overnight.
Okay.
Christian Benford.
Oh God. What about him?
He ain't Benford like he's supposed to Benford. When you're Benford, you're supposed to Benford better than you Benford, Dorothy. If you know Discord, you know why I had to do that, because she called us out she wants us to slander everybody else but Benford and Josh. So
we've just about slandered anybody worth slandering on the team.
Not to her liking. We got to find somebody else now. We got to find somebody else because evidently we only slandered Benford and I guess McDermott, but Benford and Josh is all she cares about. And if we exhausted Benford, we got to move to somebody else. So I don't know who it's gonna be.
I'll put it like this: it's hard. It's hard to exhaust Benford because there's so many people fighting for him now that he's got the statistics to back it up.
There you go. Keep it coming.
Right.
There you go.
Like as long as y'all keep fighting for him, I'm gonna keep fighting against him. And it's not just on the strength of trying to be a contrarian. It's show me the definitive, unchallengeable facts that determine that he's top 5 overall. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it clear beyond the shadow of a doubt that this kid at 24 years of age is at the top of the league. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I can count 5 corners better than Christian Benford right now, regardless of stats. A guy that I would pick to say, go check Jamar Chase. And I know they're going to battle. Jamar Chase might get him. He might get Jamar Chase. But a guy that I know I can trust and build my defense around. There's 5 guys I can list off right off the bat, right? So I guess in that argument, and I don't want to make it bigger than it needs to be in this episode, but that's the foundation of my issue that I take with Benford. Is like everybody is like, oh, he's so great. Okay, he's a good player on the Bills. I get it, but we don't need to conflate the issue by trying to say he's the best in football or he's top 5 in football. Like the stats say what they say, but there's not a lot of context to the stats that people are using.
Okay. Easy. I'll call the dogs up, Dorothy. You see what happens when you mess with me?
See?
You see what happens? This is what happens.
I'm coming for everybody.
I was holding him back, but I let him loose. I turned him loose.
See, I'm not the only one.
But yeah, no.
So that's you let it loose now. So just so y'all know, if y'all really want to see the whole argument on Benford, like I gave a whole rundown of all the contextual statistics of players around Benford, all that kind of stuff. That's in that's in Monday's episode. So go check out Monday's episode. All of that is in there. I can't wait to see what y'all think of that. For those of you on Twitter watching this, y'all missed a great episode. Yeah. We went in.
No, seriously, we went on Keon Coleman. We didn't go in on Keon, but we talked about Keon Coleman a lot.
For sure. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, just, it's free. Come on over to our page. You're gonna see us on there, even when we're not on the Twitter page. So we don't do this for anything, but we want to see you guys every day. For stuff though, I did want to touch on something that was dear to my heart.
Okay.
Dear to my heart today. It's funny because I was working and T was off on the couch and she's, I was like, damn it. She's like, what? I said, damn it.
Thank you, man.
I hit her with the old man's one. I just seen him yesterday. The Whispers, you've heard of Whispers, right? The group?
I think so.
Probably from me.
Yeah.
Legendary American R&B local group formed in 1963 in Watts neighborhood of Los Angeles, known for their smooth harmonies and timeless grooves. They became one of the most enduring acts of the soul and funk era. You might know them because of the songs And the Beat Goes On. You might know them because of Rock Steady, It's a Love Thing, Lady, Olivia, Lost and Turned Out, which is one of Ken's first ever singing songs. So if you heard me correctly, they were formed in 1963. So if you were born anytime after that, you were probably conceived to their music. Yep. Now you got that in your head. Now that's you can chew on that one. So I say, you know what?
You came ready today, bro.
I said full disclosure. I'm gonna do this. I said I was born in April of '84.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna put myself out there. Mom, we got some talks later on.
Oh boy.
Because by my calculation, the top songs at the time of when I was conceived, All This Love by DeBarge, Baby Come to Me by Patty Austin and James Ingram, Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams, and You Are by Lionel Richie. Which one of those was that, Mom? Which one? I need to know.
Oh God. Why would I couldn't even, there's no way I'm asking my mom that question.
We got a different thing going on.
I mean, bro, again, like I've said, I really admire and I'm jealous of your relationship with your mom. It's truly unique for sure.
But the reason why I brought it up because Walter Scott Jr., one of the lead singers of the Whispers, did pass on June 26th at the age of 81 after a 6-month battle with cancer in Northridge, California, surrounded by his family. Now, why is it always me? Why is it always me that's bringing bad news? I don't understand it.
What do you mean?
I'm always telling somebody died.
Oh,
I'm always doing that.
But I mean, you do it in such an honorable and respect. I don't think people see it as like a bad thing.
I try.
You do such a great job.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Hey, I met him once. I did meet him.
Wow.
Yeah,
really?
I met him. And it was funny because I was 23 and I went to a concert with my mom the night before and I worked at 4:30 in the morning and they came in and I said, wait, aren't you? This is one of the other ones in the group. He was like, oh, you know me. I said, I did your concert last night. He's like, yeah, right. I said, Dealer, how old are you? So they went outside and got the band, brought the band in. I got autographs from all of them.
Even they didn't believe you were just 23.
They did not. They were like, nah, there's no way. You know who I am? I said, nah, absolutely. Yeah. I was there. The keyboard player was like, how was I? He's like, my sax. I was like, you're great. But that was like my starstruck moment. So these guys were probably about 5'3", but they asked for the exit row in the seat. So that kind of soured on me a little bit. Like, what y'all need that leg room for? Y'all, never mind. Never mind.
Oh my God.
Never mind.
This man just literally called the Whispers short. It's just literally like after everything else, they small.
I had to bring it back up, but Also, I had a moment with Ken this morning. I'm ashamed of all parents.
Oh, Beth, you older than me too?
Well, there are people in this world older than me. You know,
I mean,
it's
yeah,
fine.
but not like we was in the same grade.
Y'all didn't. She didn't bring the cupcakes, and you didn't have the donut holes, and everybody celebrated it and whatnot.
I never got invited to a birthday
Evidently
party.
not, Beth. What's going on?
Hey,
Tommy was good.
Look, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
No. No.
Okay. So I'm ashamed of all parents.
Somebody speak.
I'm ashamed of all parents. This is why I'm ashamed of all parents. So I go, Ken's in the room, he's screaming off the wall, stuff like that. And I just look at him. He said, "What?" I looked at him. Do you guys know, who Funny Marco is, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the Funny Marco face. When you talk to him, he doesn't smile. He's like,
yeah, it's just real dry, no expression at all whatsoever.
Ken gave me this look because I just walked in the hallway and I just looked at him. I stared at him. He looked at me like, so we're doing this for like 35 seconds, right?
Okay.
And so I just put my finger, I'm like, he said, "What?" I said, he's like, "What? What's going on?" I said,
Yo, he's just like you.
I said, "You don't know?" He's like, I said, "Touch my finger, Ken." He's like, "Why?" I said, "Just touch it." And he's like, I said, "ET phone home, Ken."
Oh my
ET.
God.
Why?
He's like, "What is ET?" I'm like,
He needs some.
Why, Ken? Why did you ask that question?
I said, "The hell you mean you don't know ET?"
Oh
He
no.
just does research.
I said, ET. I said, "Dude, my toenails fell off. My eyes dried out."
Oh my God.
The point is, teaching kids about the great American values, life, liberty, and ET. What are we doing?
Yeah, we have
He needs
shown
his
our
whole-
children this.
got
either.
He needs his
Yeah.
whole childhood relived.
We got to do better.
He needs to relive that moment where he watched ET. I used to watch that when I was little. Okay, so
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's a rite of passage. It is. It's truly one of those movies that kind of introduced the beginning of the modern sci-fi era. You know what I mean? Like you had a lot of older movies try to like really come with some new concepts, but this was the first time you saw CGI making these kids fly and all that kind of stuff. So.
I said, "Elliot."
Yeah.
He was like,
Elliot.
I said, it wasn't a horror. He's like, "You sure?" I said, "I'm positive.
Yeah.
I'm positive. Just watch the movie."
I've been challenged by Zoomer. I think he's saying name 5 corners better than Benford. I mean,
boy.
Do we really? Okay. All right. First and foremost, you got to name Pastor
Alexander.
Tane. Huh?
Jair Alexander.
Pastor Tane. Well, yeah. I mean, Jair. Yeah. I would definitely take that kid before I take Benford.
I knew you would.
But if I'm naming like the top 5 in the league right now, definitely Pastor Tane. Sauce Gardner is in there somewhere. You've got Derek Stingley. I would take Will Johnson easily over Benford, even as a rookie right now, for sure.
I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No, nobody saw that coming. But trust me when I tell you, he's already a number 1 corner in Arizona. Watch what I tell you. The kid is a baller. He can play. He's nice. So that's 4. I need a 5th. I mean, I'm trying to pick like a definitive, like everybody knows this guy. You know what I'm saying?
What about Jalen Johnson?
He's closer to Benford than he is like a Jair Alexander.
I'm just
type,
naming cats I
you know
can think of. No, okay.
I mean, look, at this point, I would still take Jalen Ramsey before I took Benford.
Whoa, okay.
I mean, I know that's saying a lot with his injury history and stuff like that, but a healthy Ramsey versus Christian Benford, I'm sorry, I'm still taking Ramsey at that point.
I would take a prime Ramsey better than Benford.
So there you go. I gave you 4 young corners and 1 old corner. I mean, there's still plenty of other guys. We already named Jair Alexander. I would take DJ Reed before I took Christian Benford. I would take who else?
What about who's the kid from the Chargers? The one that everybody's talking about? Was that Samuel Jr.?
Asante Samuel. I would say he's only slightly better than Benford. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I would like definitively like, but to me, they like Asante Samuel's probably a little more athletic than Benford is in terms of like, speed and agility and all that kind of stuff, but generally the same type of player.
Okay.
Who else? What are some other teams?
Atlanta, the Saints.
Oh my gosh, the kid in Cleveland. What is his name? What is it? Somebody give me his name.
I'm gonna have to pull this up for you.
Kid in Cleveland. Cooper DeJean. Yeah, I would take Cooper DeJean.
Oh yeah. Oh, what about Quinyon Mitchell?
Quinyon Mitchell.
Marlon Humphrey. Would you do that? Darius Slay.
Nah, Darius Slay is too old.
Okay.
He definitely too old at this point in his career. Kyle Hamilton is a safety, but I would definitely take him easily.
Well, you loved him
Benford.
anyway. That's not fair.
I did love him anyway. Let me hold on. I got to pull this up because this is gonna drive me nuts.
You guys, I'm pulling it now. You guys realize that I'm saving all my supposed salt for later. So let's see. I have, who do we have? Give me 1 second. Well, buffers.
See if I can get it before you here.
If you do something wrong, my set.
I got it right here. It's Denzel Ward.
Denzel
Ward is easily. It is laughable. Is laughable somewhere. Okay, we can have the debate, bro. You a member now, so if you want to come on the show, we can have the debate. I promise you, I'm not walking away from this with an L. I promise you. There's not enough definitive evidence to prove that Christian Benford is better than these players, aside from the non-contextual stats that everybody wants to use. It doesn't take it matter. We looked up because I don't think you got a chance to say this on Monday when we were looking up the stats. But what was his average yards of separation? I think it was like 2.3 or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's giving up almost 3 yards of separation between him and the receiver on every play. I'm sorry. I don't know of any other top tier corner that's given up that much yards.
They said Woolen.
Tariq Woolen?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For sure. 6'4" guys, 4.3 speed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's up there 4.3, 4.4.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. He's good. He's very underrated though. I don't think he gets enough credit because he's in Seattle. I think if Mike McDonald would have still been there for another year or two, he would definitely be up there because that defense with him coaching it was elite.
Zoomer is. I'm just naming them right now. I'm just pulling them up. My slot comes later, I guess. So don't hold this against me. So I will say this before. Well, you got anything else you want to before you get into? I will say this before we enter into.
Gonzalez. Yeah, that's another good one.
I was going to say that, but I really haven't seen enough of him yet. So before we enter the paradox of the thumbnail.
All right.
I'm going to be slandered this time.
Ooh,
it's my turn. I think.
Really?
It's my turn.
Okay.
Yeah. You got a twinkle in your eye.
You slandering anybody is like, I'm very interested in this.
Yeah, I think it's going to be my turn to just get destroyed in the comments, get destroyed in the chat.
Okay. So you're about to slander somebody and you know you're about to get slandered after that.
Yeah.
Got you.
So before I do that, we better get some subs. We better get some subs off of this because if you got a slander, you got a sub. And I need the proof. I need to see paperwork. See a lot of paperwork. Without that, do you think Benford was worth his new contract? Yes.
God dang.
We can't let Benford go. We got too many people now that haven't seen this.
Oh, your thing is just like, blurred up a little bit.
Who, me?
What, the camera?
Yeah.
It always does that.
I mean,
I'm murky. It's fine.
It's trying to focus in, and it's hard.
I'll come back.
He's shining so bright.
I'm shining so bright. It's like, yo, this dude, he about to slander. He out of here.
Right. That's probably what it is. No, I wouldn't have paid Ben for 19. I know what the numbers say, but if he couldn't get that from another team, and I don't think he could have, I know that there's people out there that are trying to push this narrative that he could have. I don't care.
In that case, if that's your stance, then I can understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. All right. Who else are we? Hold on. Who are we on today?
Hey, I think the thumbnail tells it all. Javon Solomon, bring it on. No, I'm joking.
Whoa.
You in the back hiding. I see you over there peeking.
I mean, Matt and Javon Solomon is killing it right now.
I told you. So, in the words of DC Young Fly's early days, Brandon Beane, bring your ass back here, boy. Or in the words of Dontario Hunden, bring you to the barbecue. Huh?
They're trying to find the button. He
Stay with me now.
There it was. It didn't play. I hit it and it didn't play. I'm like,
stay
what the
with
heck?
Me now. Okay. So we had a conversation. Actually, I was working on this, and it's been a long time coming. I've been holding it and just sitting on it for a while, but the time has come.
Oh boy.
Okay. Brandon Beane. Brandon Big Baller Beane. Triple B. There's a lot of different B's you can put there as opposed to Big Baller.
Butterball Beane.
You can go.
He done turned into that. You see that gut?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Roy said, I've been waiting since Monday for this.
He growing his own turkey under there, man.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Buffalo get you there. So
that's true.
If you don't like Beane, that B could be bogus, bamboozle, bilk. For those who don't know what bilk means, I wrote it down for you. To cheat, defraud, especially financially. I'll leave it. I'll set that right there.
Wow.
Brigand, a bit old school, really old school, but it refers to a bandit, a thief, someone who's a swindler. Now, if you like Brandon Beane, that B could be bona fide. That B could be blamelessness. That B could be balance or beacon of hope. I'm gonna let you decide which one you want. But this show today is gonna help you with your pursuit of what side of the fence you want to lean on. Now, my criticisms of Brandon Beane. Criticisms. Signing Von Miller. That's one of them.
Yeah, that's pretty egregious.
Why? And this is the thing. Everybody's gonna say, well, it's hindsight is 2020. Had he not? Hold on. My good man over here was there. We were friends. We were very good friends when that contract was signed. The day it happened, what did I say?
I don't think I can legally say those
I don't think you really can. I really don't think you can. Was he solid? Absolutely. 8.5 sacks before the injury.
Oh, yeah.
But did you know?
Just won a Super Bowl ring, too.
Just won a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
But did you know? Since then, there have been a few second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth round draft picks that came after that signing that have had more than 7 sacks in the season. Malcolm Kuntz, Byron Young. You could have got even George Karlaftis.
Oh, yeah.
Why didn't we get him? Because we traded up to get your boy Kyer. Think about it. We traded up to get Kyer.
Yep.
We didn't. Oh, I'm about to say what happened.
No, we good.
Yeah, we didn't use Kyer at all. So in essence, we lost out on Karlaftis or whoever else behind him, and we got a guy that was pretty much a whipping boy for 4 years in Buffalo. So I say this to say, I don't want to split hairs and wait for eight sacks. I don't want to say who got 8 sacks, who didn't, because Karlaftis had double-digit sacks twice. Yaya Diaby or something like that? Diaby, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
He had a 8 sack season as well, 9 sack season, and he followed it up with a 4.5 sack season in Tampa Bay. So when you look at what they passed upon, everybody says, Trayvon Walker, you couldn't have got him. You couldn't have got Jalen Carter. You couldn't have got. But when Brandon Beane said what he said, I don't want to suck bad enough to get a guy that does whatever. I'm saying to say you can wait. You can wait for later and still get production. But if you listen to them, they'll tell you, no, we got to get a free agent. We got to sign somebody who can do it. We don't want to draft and develop. We got to get somebody that can do this thing for us now. If you move on to Michael Hoyt and Larry Ogunjobi signings.
Okay.
Both PEDs. Both of them made it known. Well, Hoyt made it known before it got out that he had the PEDs. He was signed for 3 years. Okay, that's cool. Fine. We lose 6 games. Not a big deal. What the big deal with Hoyt is, his defensive coordinator on record says, I don't know how to use him yet. You spent $21 million on the guy that is his coach. Don't even know what the hell to do with him.
Yeah. He wasn't here when we had Zoe.
No, he wasn't here when we had Zoe. He missed that year.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, we're talking about Larry Ogunjobi. In Pittsburgh last year, he was a flame out. A 3-tech flame out. He signed a 1-year deal for $8 million. I think it was up to 10 or something like that.
Yes, up to 10.
So now that he's suspended, it goes down to 6.7 or something like that. But you could have ripped up that contract.
Right.
Because we're last.
That's the one you didn't know about.
That's the one you didn't know about. We're last in salary cap space. We have $150,000, $175,000 in salary cap space. on the top 51. So after we go to 53, you got to make moves. You got to do stuff to fit. So that's going to be problematic. He's not a one tech.
No. He didn't play one tech in Pittsburgh.
It's been a while since he tried one tech.
Yeah.
He's not a one tech. So what are we doing? We go ahead and we get somebody behind Ed Oliver in a draft rich class where you can get somebody behind Ed Oliver, one tech, Silas, Walker, Yaya Black. I mean, take your pick. CJ West, whoever you want. But they had to have him. They had to have this guy. So you spent more money. So what is that? $27 million between Bosa, Hoyt, and Ogunjobi in 1 year?
Sure is.
2 of them are going for 6 games. One of them is going for the mini camp phase in Bosa. And now you got to bubble wrap this guy. Everybody's like, just hold off to prep. How you know you're gonna get there? But that takes me to the conversation I had with Dorothy.
Okay.
When she said, we're talking about how are you gonna talk about we're getting there. I'm like, okay, so how do you know we're getting there? Because we got into a situation where we were talking about the strength of the conference. How she said that we can't say this conference is easy. That's like saying Tom Brady had it. I'm like, Tom Brady did not have it. It's the competition Tom Brady faced when he was in the AFC East when he was here.
Oh, it
was harder. It was harder.
Exactly.
Because I broke it down last time. I think it was the Jets who had one winning season since 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And the only other team that's had any winning seasons is the Dolphins, and that's barely.
The Dolphins even won the division during Brady's era.
Right. They took turns.
Right.
They took turns, giving fists. Brady won. Even the Bills.
Sure.
The Bills were, 8, 9. They were between 6 and 8 wins. We got teams in the division 4 wins, 5 wins, 6 wins. And that's the best we're going to do.
But the Dolphins were widely known as the Patriots' kryptonite. Like, for some reason, the Dolphins always played the Patriots very, very well.
Right. Right. So, and that's kind of like the deal where you're talking about Lamar, Pat Mahomes, Josh, that little continuum. Yeah. This team is great, but this team has their number. But then this team has their number, so it's like a big circle.
Exactly.
And it was fun. We knew, we were not going to win the division.
Yep.
We knew that. But we never knew who number 2 was. We never knew number 2 might make the playoffs.
Right.
When's the last time besides that Dolphins and Patriots? When we ever said somebody's going to be number 2 out of this division?
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the Ravens division, and she said that one's not harder. I'm like, what? Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
Yep.
They're not okay.
If you look at it like this, out of the last 3 years, the Dolphins have made it to the playoffs twice.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, none.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So basically, the Bills were able to go, 4 different years to the playoffs that the Dolphins didn't make it or weren't good enough to make it and weren't good enough to challenge the Bills.
Yep.
Jets have never been. Patriots have never been. Aside from
the perfect game, that was it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's right. Yeah, that was their only time. That was one time.
Yeah, what was that? I don't even know. I'm not gonna play that game because I'm gonna lose.
The perfect game. I think that might have been 2021.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that might have been 2021. The perfect game. I'm pretty sure that's 2021. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean that entire collection of teams in our division,
mm-hmm.
The quarterbacks that we had to go against. I mean, think about that for a second. Like, realistically, go back to the Patriots quarterbacks after Tom Brady. Who did they have? Right. There's no name that sticks out aside from Cam Newton.
Cam Newton, right. I was like Cam Newton, Mac Jones. What's the one dude that I forgot the toilet bowl kid.
The Jets, aside from Aaron Rodgers, who was their quarterback?
You got Zach Williams because he was the guy that everybody wanted to face.
Right. Zach Wilson was the guy.
Yeah, Mike White because Matt Milano folded him like a lawn chair.
Right. Dolphins, even with Tua when the Patriots defensive coordinator was their head coach.
Yeah.
Tua wasn't doing nothing.
No, you had Fitz. That's it.
Yeah.
Then a long laundry list of other people that don't even matter. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a division that's for the taking. You just can't fall over your own feet. That's all you got. As long as you win the games you're supposed to win as a division, you're good. So, my thing is that if McDermott really needs this guy, I said McDermott in caps
mm-hmm.
because this is Babbitt's defense. But if McDermott really needs this guy, This is your chance.
Right.
If you say, you know what, I'm gonna put my foot down here to lowball him. You could have lowballed Hoyt. You could have lowballed. I tried, man. I tried.
Yeah,
but he wouldn't come. I don't know why.
Realistically, where was Hoyt going?
Nowhere.
Exactly. Where was Ogunjobi going? You didn't need to pay either one of those guys the money you paid them.
Right. Yeah, Mark. See, that Pats might be second best in the division. See how you said second
right
best?
Now? Yeah.
See how he says he didn't say it might be first. He said it might be second.
Right.
Who's first? You can ask any market in the AFC East. They'll tell you.
They know. Yeah.
These guys. So, I mean, the division's not hard. You just got to get out of the division, what you will, until somebody opposes you. But the point is, when you're talking about back to Beane again, the overreaction in the drafts, the overreactions. Should we name them?
Overreacting in an excited way, you mean?
In a I'm scared way.
Oh,
in the I'm scared way. I mean, you're talking about Kyer Elam. You're talking about Dalton Kincaid, because I don't even know who went before Kincaid. I can't remember. But after Kincaid, if you're trying to build for a 12, which they said they were, you already had your $14 million tight end, did you not? You had Michael Mayer that came after Kincaid. You had Sam Laporta after Kincaid.
Yep.
Get one of them. Guess what? Those were two better traditional tight ends. Those guys can block and they can catch.
Mm-hmm.
You already had your catching tight end. Be whatever you want with years 1 and 2 with Dawson Knox.
What I don't understand is Kincaid went before Mayer, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We saw Mayer's rookie season, didn't we?
Yep. In Oakland.
Exactly. With who's his quarterback? Jimmy Garoppolo or whoever it was?
I don't even know.
Gardner Minshew throwing him the football?
It could have been John David Booty for all I know. It could have been John David. I don't even know.
Yo, I have not heard that name in forever.
I had to bring it out. I had to. And he ended like, hey, yo, what you say? No, that's his name. It's his birth certificate.
That name is crazy.
That's very much so his name. That's right.
No, that's not crazy. You want to know what's really crazy?
Ooh.
Oh, Junie, this is real. You ready?
No,
boy.
I'm not ready.
Oh,
that
boy.
ear button really ready, bro.
You got to get it ready.
All right. Come on. I got it.
General Booty.
What?
Pause.
General Booty.
Pause. No, bro.
That's the dude's name.
Cancel his name right
His
now.
first name is General. And
Last name is Booty. Booty.
What were his parents doing?
And he's not black.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, nah. Right.
See, I knew that was gonna get you.
Ref.
I knew that was gonna get you. He's not.
Police.
That's an instant fail.
Junie, look it up. Look it up.
Fail.
I'm not looking at nothing.
General Booty.
You would never catch
G-E-N-E-R.
me.
It's spelled correctly and everything.
Hold on,
Everything's
hold
spelled
on,
correctly.
hold
on.
Look it up.
You would
I'm about to
never
look it
catch
up
me
right
looking it
now.
up.
General. People, you know what? You can go ahead. I'll give you permission. Lead the show for a second. Look at General Booty.
No, don't.
There he
leave the
is.
show. Oh wow. All right.
That's
We gotta bring him up.
That's
we gotta
him.
bring him up. Hold on.
That's
Let's see
him.
There's no
here. I'm
way.
about to bring him up.
There's no
Really be
way.
laughing.
Here's the search.
There's no
him.
way.
This is the guy right here. This is the
And
guy.
if you point out, his name is General Axel Booty.
There it is. General
Why
Axel
can't
Booty.
his last name? You know what, bro?
You thought I was making this up?
University of Louisiana. You only know this guy because you play CFB. This is the only way you can.
Exactly why
The
he
only
knows
way anybody could ever know this kid's
Exactly
name
why
is
he
if they
knows
play
it.
CFB.
That's exactly why.
What
That's tough.
position does he play?
Quarterback.
Wow.
Quarterback. Louisiana
Wow.
Monroe. Yep.
Wait, Abram. So he only got one parent. Wow.
The mom said, I'm not identifying.
I don't blame her.
I'm not
I
doing
don't blame her
Mom
at
said,
all.
I'm not
Mom,
doing
with
it.
you on
Unless that is the mom's name.
That, it could be.
You never know.
Naming a kid General. Who knows?
At this point, who knows?
Wow.
And
All
he's
right.
a nephew of John David Booty. I just learned that. He's his nephew.
What?
He's John David Booty's
Yo.
nephew.
Where
Yo.
did see that?
Go up a little bit right
Yo,
there.
these
Hold on.
Oh
names-
yeah, the
These names
nephew.
gotta
Wow.
go. These names gotta go, bro. These names
Wow.
We got to go back to the comments. I need to know.
This is incredible.
I got to know.
This is incredible.
Yo, the comments are gonna lose their mind, bro. They're gonna lose their brain cells in a minute, bro.
That's
The
incredible.
comments are gonna lose their brain
Billy
cells.
cracking up.
There's no way.
Mark, Thomas, you walked right into something. You missed it when you missed the conversation about General Booty.
No, good. No, that's good.
Mark,
I'm glad you missed it.
Mark, no, I think General Booty takes the cake.
What?
But there's
What?
I think Booty has that's one of the top selling shirts.
What?
Yes. Yes.
Key.
Yes. But back to what we were talking
You
about.
feeling yourself hot out today, huh?
People like booty, man. That's
Yeah,
what you want me to
Well,
say.
hold on, no, hold on.
Yo, could you imagine
What?
that? If he got benched, I'm like, we
Oh
want
my
booty.
God. Scott,
Booty did it.
what's
Booty did
going
it.
on?
Huh?
Stop.
I'm sorry.
All right, so I mean, we gotta. All right, here it goes. Scott says, Beane will make the biggest mistake ever by not saying to signing James Cook. I know they have a cap issue, and I know he wants to pay.
He wants to pay 15 plus. Yep.
Yeah. But he's half the reason why they're winning. I mean, for God's sake, 16 touchdowns.
Now, Scott, let me ask you this: even for 16, even if he gave you 10, imagine what that does for everybody else on the offense.
Yeah.
It just makes him a threat. Everybody knows who he is. And and I was gonna get to James Cook. I really wasn't gonna get to him in depth, but you got that comes later on when you in some of the misses that could ensue, including Wyatt Teller.
Right.
But no, getting back to overreactions. Kyrie Elam, he moved up to get Kyrie Elam because why? You had Roger McCreary after him. You had Kyler Gordon after him. I think they played more than Kyrie Elam did in Buffalo. Go ahead. You go ahead and you went and got Rasul Douglas anyway. I'm sure you could have got him. We talking about booty.
I was looking at that.
Bro, come on now.
As soon as he walks in the door, what the hell?
Why are we talking about booty? You gonna see the viewership go down by 1. Oh man, Tom, come back.
It just went up by 1 as soon as we said booty. Somebody was like,
Wait,
somebody's on my booty?
where we at? Where we at with this?
Gosh, bro. How did you let your eyes on like that?
Oh my God.
But no, I mean it's no secret that the Bills have a very reactive tendency in drafts. They tend to get nervous when their guy goes off the board.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna always tell you that they got their guy, but I tend not to believe it. I just don't believe it. We got our guy every time. Every time. Okay. All right.
We never didn't get our guy.
We never did. We followed the board. You see it? We got our board. It's right here. No, don't look at it.
The Bills are so much more skilled than every other team at getting their guy.
We got our guy every time.
God,
I mean, just we had. I mean, I get it. Nobody's gonna have all 32 picks in the first round.
Yeah,
right. I get it. But when we did our draft on the game, we were like, okay, we're drafting here. I'm not even looking at those guys way up there. I'm not going to waste my time. They're not coming to me.
Yep.
I know that. So let's start here, and maybe you'll go to the back half. What are your second round? What are your second round picks that you would take in the first if you had to? What are your tweeners? That's where I would go. But for instance, if you're looking at how they move, Keon Coleman, we talked about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the comments somebody said we should have definitely got Odunze or Neighbors. I'm like, there was no way.
No.
There was no way that was ever going to happen, and I was fine with that.
Yeah.
But where the book stops, BTJ.
Exactly.
That's where the book stops. But what did he say in that clip? Trade up for that. We don't have the money for that. I can't afford that. That's what he said. I can't afford that. Why? Because of the cap that you built.
Right.
He meant I can't afford it. Not like I don't have the capital. He got plenty of that. But I don't have the money to pay this dude once we get the guy.
Now here's the part that's funny because you and I caught it's an unconfirmed report that we heard that the Bills are currently working on a deal, but the number that the Bills have in mind is between 12 and 13 million, right? And it really comes down to whether or not James Cook is willing to come off of the hard 15. Okay. My initial reaction to hearing that though was if James Cook comes off of 15 and settles for 13 or 12, this time next year in 2026, he's now at market value.
Yeah.
Which really does not illustrate where he is in the pecking order of running backs.
Right. Because
what that means, market value is basically average. This is what the average football player that has played enough snaps to qualify for this amount can make.
Right.
And James Cook is well outperformed even the $5 million he's making this year. So even if James Cook was to make all of you fans that want Cook to just come off of 15, all of you fans that say he's not worth 15, if he comes down off of that and he settles for 13 or 12, by this time next year, he's making average running back money.
Mhm.
And it's really a much more team-friendly deal for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I think that was, I don't want to rehash it, but that was the big reason why the Ed Oliver deal didn't bother me. Because at first it sucked. It's like 84 million for what? But now you see he's ranked, I know we don't do PFF, but if you're just going on a crude basis of where he falls in the pecking order, he's like 19th rated. And that his salary is like 14th or something like that. So it's not that far off.
Yeah, it's fairly close.
Yeah, I mean, so even if even years down, it drops as the years go. He goes further down. So it at first it hurts. It sounds like, why are we doing this? But then when you look at it and you think about the long run, and you got him locked in, so you can only get better. If TJ Sanders is better, guess what? Ed Oliver can be traded.
The cool part about when he got his deal was we weren't handing out a lot of big contracts. There was still a lot of guys on rookie deals or very, small average deals. You know what I mean? We had guys on 3-year deals for not a lot of money. That's before we got into the whole 1-year deals every single, off season.
Right.
So it was much more manageable and tolerable to have that 84 million, even if you didn't think he deserved it. It wasn't hurting the team.
Right.
It didn't hurt until you put $100 million on the docket.
Right. And I think, to the $12 to $13 million point, I think that falls into semantics. No, it doesn't fall semantics. It falls into what exactly are we talking? Because Cook has leverage. He's betting on himself because he knows if the Bills are really offering that, that's where I want to land anyway. But let me go out here and try to show out and see if I can get that extra $2 million. Now he's risking getting hurt, risking falling on his face. He's risking all these things. But at the same time, what if he goes out and gets 10 touchdowns and 1,100 yards rushing and another 400 yards receiving in the season? Guess what? 15 looks a lot better.
Exactly.
And he's like, cool, I got my money. But, I think when you're also pulling back the layers of the 12 to 13, are we talking about the guarantee of 12 to 13? Are we talking about a $5 million a year guarantee? See, that's what is the guarantee of that? Is that could be the semantics part of it. But if it's on the table, he knows what it is, and he's in training camp. He's in mini camp, so that tells you he's not completely closed the door. He hasn't hung the phone up on anybody. It just means I'm gonna wait and see what I can do for myself. Because a lot of guys bet on themselves. You're supposed to.
Exactly.
That's a winning culture. You bet on yourself. Compounding problem was the backup Dawson. See, that's the thing, Kev. They paid him like a starter, and what they did was they tried to replace his skill set with another guy when you could have got another guy like Mayer or Laporta to put next to him.
Yep.
At this point, we know Dawson Knox is the guy that runs the seams. We know he's the one that gets you tough yardage. We know he's the one that Josh likes to throw to. So why would you try to diminish his role and put somebody else in the role that you envision? OJ Howard, people like that. Why do you do that? Just leave them where they are and put somebody to complement them. You had Diggs, you had Davis, you had Gabe Davis. I know you had Dawson Knox. What are you doing? Go ahead and get your, trade back, whatever the case may be. He might have been there, he might not have, but those other two guys were there, and there were guys later on. We were talking about what was it, Darnell Washington from Pittsburgh. The big, was he like 6'9", 6'7", 270 or something like that? Could have got him, whatever. But they had to have their guy. Had to.
Right. Roy says, and I'll let you answer this. Roy says Cook barely broke 1,000 yards rushing. How many running backs last season had 1,000 or more rushing yards?
Okay, so I was reading something. Cook barely broke 1,000 yards rushing.
Oh,
How many running backs last season had 1,000 more? What does that mean?
I think he's trying to say there were probably a lot of
I get it,
running backs.
Let me ask you this. How many guys running three-headed by committee running attack? How many guys averaged 4.9 a carry? How many guys went for 1,000 yards with only 207 carries?
That sounds like context, bro. You in murky waters right now.
Did I add it?
You definitely added context, but people don't like that. People they just want to grab at singular stats and put those in the vacuum.
Yeah, I mean, he did. He rushed for them, but what was his impact?
Right.
What by Cook being on the field? What was it that Josh didn't have to do? By Cook being on the field, what was it that Dawson Knox could have done? What was it that Keon Coleman could have done?
Kev said, "Tell Roy how many had 16 TDs."
Yeah,
that would be 0, sir.
I mean, that's it. And that's the thing. This isn't a show about James Cook, but that kind of is it's a picture of what we're talking about now. The missteps that led up to where we are right now, where you can't get a running back that is going for the going rate right now. 25 years old, 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, 20 touchdowns. One of the seasons he only had 4.
Right.
I mean, there's no signs of slowing down. It wasn't a fluke. It's not like they gave him those Jerome Bettis touchdowns. Remember that game where Jerome Bettis had like 3 carries? What do you have? He had like 4 carries for 1 yard and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he did. That's right. Yeah, because he was only getting red zone touchdowns.
It was something crazy. So it's like, how do you go for negative yards and still score 3 touchdowns? I mean, that's not what we're talking about. Roy said, "Don't make me call it Tommy." He's in there somewhere.
No, okay. So real quick, here's where I land with Cook's stats, right? Because even with that argument right there of, well, I got to see him put up those stats again. We didn't demand that of Stephon Diggs when we traded for him. We didn't demand that from Stephon Diggs the year after he the year after he got 1,500 yards. Or I'm sorry, 1,400 yards. Like, think about it like this. His first year here, he only had Stephon Diggs, I'm talking about. He only had 1,183 yards. The next season, he got 1,429 and 11 touchdowns. If I'm not mistaken, he got paid the very next year in 2021 when he had less numbers. He had less numbers. Yep. We had already given him a deal when he first got here. When we traded for him, we gave him a deal. And we gave him another one, an extension in 2021 when he had 204 less yards and 1 less touchdown. But we gave him another deal. So in the Bills' mind, it's really not about matching exactly 16 touchdowns or matching exactly 1,000. It's not about that. It's about impact. He was an impact player for this team, and the Bills valued it, right? And once he got the deal, right? Here's an example. Case in point. Once Diggs got that deal, what did he do the next season? Next season, he goes for 1,535 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Right. And I think, who was it? Mark C. Henry and Gibbs also had 16 touchdowns, I think. Okay, so they did. Josh Jacobs had 15, but how much are they making? Why is nobody having an outroar when they talk about Jahmyr Gibbs desiring and deserving 16 or 15 and to 18 million?
He's only part of a two-headed running back team.
Right. They're saying he should get 18 million. So what do we think? I mean, if we really want to talk about his stats, I mean, yeah, he had 5.6 a carry. He had 250, so he had 1,400 yards. But where did he run? He ran outside. He had a lot of gimmick plays where he didn't have to go head up. I mean, you could argue that James Cook is miscast as where he lines up. I mean, they don't just let him line up in a pistol right next to Josh and here find a hole and go.
Yeah,
you know, he has to do that. That's why everybody talks about how slippery he is and how he finds holes when their creases aren't there. That's why it is.
Yeah.
Now, if you can scheme him like we've been talking about, if you have an offensive coordinator that can get creative and scheme guys like that, guess what? Who knows what he could do?
Right.
Who knows? But you also got Josh Allen. You also got Ray Davis. You also got Ty Johnson. You also got this notion that he can't be on the field in third down in 2-minute offenses.
Yep.
Put him at wide receiver. Get him on a linebacker. I thought we were creative, innovative. Remember that? No, we're not, I guess.
So Beane gets a lot of the criticism for the salary cap situation and, you know, not being able to just flat out give Cook the money and not have it really be as big of a deal as it is now. But to be perfectly honest, I don't think a lot of that is, I'll say I don't think it's specifically Beane's fault. I'm actually going to cite what they would call causality, which is there's somebody that Beane has to listen to before making these decisions. And I think because there's such a heavy emphasis on criteria that it limits Beane's ability to truly build what his vision of a team would be.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. I got one more thing that I have against Beane.
Okay,
it's going to be the last negative.
All right.
Jeremy and Joe show. Okay. The reason why that
I'm on board with that.
Wrong.
Yeah,
you might not be on board with why it is, but this is for me. I mean, right or wrong, whether he was right or wrong, you don't use the word bitching when you work for McDermott. McDermott never say, but he drinks milk during his press conferences. He be up there like this. That's McDermott. So, I mean, you know, he took that personal. Whatever they were talking about, he took it personally. And I can tell you what they said was not something he should take it personally. If you listen to the whole show,
exactly.
He heard the end where they asked, they asked Sal, what do you think about drafting a wide receiver? He's like, oh, they just screwed me. If it's not you, why are you so bad? Why are you so bitter? Why? Because even McDermott said, I think it was in the was it the awkward car ride, or was it was it the interview with Sal and Matt? I'm not sure, but he said they asked him about what do you hear, what people say about you and the negative stuff and your critique. He like, it comes with the job. Comes with the job. And I can tell you right now, no, this is my thing. It does come with the job, because do you care when people say we're clowns? No. Do you care when people say the show sucks? No. It comes with the job.
Right.
People gonna watch the show and thumbs down because they want to be us sometimes.
Yo, I was telling Tommy earlier, they murdered Sneaky Joe on Twitter.
Did they?
He was making a comment on the trade that the Sabres just did, and
how
and there was some other player that they could have gotten as part of that deal, but they didn't want him.
Mm-hmm.
And Sneaky Joe was saying that's unforgivable, and people were like putting clown face emojis, telling him, the radio station he works for is wasting their money, like all kind, like
he does Locked On Sabres, and it's Paterka, not Kulik. I'm sorry, y'all. If you guys are Sabres, it's Paterka. I knew. I'm sorry.
I didn't.
But no, he does Locked On Sabres, so he has his own Locked On show. Joe Marino, competition. But that's the thing. Your Sabres are somehow still a thing, and that's the thing. And for me, when it comes to if I'm not defensive, it's because I thought I did a good job. I put in work. I said, yo, this is it.
Right.
What y'all pitching about? Y'all see what I did last year?
Yeah.
I gave y'all 30 plus points a game in the last 8 games. I gave y'all this. I gave y'all that. What do you want? Right? He said, what else do y'all want? I'm trying to understand. What do you need to understand for? I don't care. It comes with the territory. I'm in this position making $3 million a year.
Yeah.
And you're not. You want to be me. How's it feel to be me, Flash? 5 heartbeats. But and the thing is, when I'm peeling this back, I was thinking about this earlier today. I said, this is Beane taking it personal on top of McDermott. And the draft seems to be his pride and joy. I watched the other teams' pressers, and I just want to see how they handled it. The Eagles, the Rams, the Ravens, the Lions, Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Not one of those had just the GM talking. Not one. It was a combination of the GM, head coach, the head scout.
For real.
GM and head scout. It was never just the GM.
Yeah.
So why is it that ours is just the GM? This is your work. Just pat yourself on the back. And when people say it sucks, whatever. Let's see it on the field. Yes. But every GM, when we had Whaley, we talked about it. We said he does his job because he's giving Chiangeli what Chiangeli wants. He's giving Rex what he wants. Even if he doesn't agree. So when we say that this is what McDermott wants, that's what he's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if McDermott says, get me the best one tech, give me the best this, give me the best that, he's gonna do it. And I get where you're going, but when you want something, but you're handcuffed, you get you get handcuffed, and you get bashed for it, and then guess what? In my heart of hearts, I know it ain't me. I know it ain't me, and you got to have a different texture of skin in order to do the things they do, because you're never going to be good enough. These podcasts like this would not exist if everything you did everybody loved. If everything you did everybody agreed with. You got to know what's out there. I know somebody else like Zuma right now. You're being respectful, but I know somebody like, yo, this dude's a dumbass. Get him off the mic. What's he talking about? But do I care? No.
Right. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying in terms of being able to just quiet the noise on your own and not having to lash out. I completely understand that. My contention to that would be he went a Josh Allen draft and 4 years of draft classes before even reacting to the radio show host on any kind of level, because this is the first time he's really like blown up on these guys, right? But I want to take it I want to go back a few steps. There was a report I put out last year. It wasn't written, I said it on the show, and I talked about an instance in which Sean McDermott got into an argument with Beane. Now, I don't have the particulars of the argument. I was only told that Sean McDermott called Brandon Beane and specifically asked him, "Are you on board?" And that question enraged Brandon Beane, and it became a very heated argument from there on. Right? Obviously they squashed it and got back to work and all that kind of stuff, but I'm bringing that up to show that I think there's a level of frustration that Brandon Beane deals with when he knows he's going to get the blame for the players he picks. He knows he's got to be the primary guy that comes out during the offseason because Sean's not going to do it. And he also knows that whatever happens, good or bad, he's going to get the finger pointing for it, right? And I understand what it's like being at a job where I'm the face of a particular department, and I don't have the freedom to run the department the way I want to, but all of the complaints, all of the issues, all of the backlash that I get because of that, I have to take it on my own. I can't push off the responsibility on somebody else. I can't push the blame on somebody else. I still have to take it. Why? Because I hold the title, right? And so being in a situation like that and dealing with that level of stress consistently and having to answer the questions that I have to answer, making the moves that I'm told to make, all of that stuff eventually grows to a pimple head and pops from time to time, right? So, and I know that from experience. So seeing Brandon Beane go through a similar thing with the Buffalo Bills and knowing what Jim Monis said in terms of it's not just Brandon Beane sitting there in the room saying, okay, who am I going to pick? No, it's Sean McDermott sitting there with him saying, I want this guy, I want that guy, and I want that guy. And then after round 3, we can let the scouts pick them, right? That's how it goes there. That's already been reported. It was talked about on Tyler Dunn's podcast. Knowing all of that, I can't sit here and say Brandon Beane sucks to any degree. He's not. It's not his criteria. It's not just his choice, and it's for sure not his choice in who gets signed and who doesn't. I don't know how you can blame a guy for holding a title when he's not the only one making decisions for his department.
I'm gonna get to that later. We didn't get to the why I don't subscribe to that. But
gotcha.
I'm gonna turn this around though.
Okay.
Positives.
Okay.
Brandon Beane. Take away Von Miller. I know I keep saying Von Miller, 8 sacks, blah, blah, blah. We know. Whatever. I'm done with that. On the surface, he makes a lot of good decisions in restructuring. He built contracts that he could restructure. Had it not been for Brandon Beane, actually, you know what? Let me back up. Zoomer, that comment I put up on the screen, that's exactly the person I want to watch the show. You don't have to agree with everything I say, anything I say, but just watch the show and know I'm listening to you and I understand. I get it. But on the surface, he made a lot of good decisions of restructuring, like Deion Dawkins the first time, restructuring Steph Diggs the second, third, and he got Josh Allen in under the cap. It's just Divine Miller albatross that we can't get off our backs. Now it's a Stephon Diggs albatross we can't get off our backs, which results in the dead last cap situation in the league. But he's also done a good job filling in for McDermott's blanks. I mean, his messages. Yeah. So what I'm getting at basically is I used to enjoy his pressers. I used to talk about him. I love his pressers.
Yeah.
I used to enjoy his pressers because he was the one who gave us some sort of insight when McDermott said, I'm not going to get into that.
Right.
I'm just not doing it.
Right.
He's proven to be a guy that can sniff out character guys. I get that. We had one. Never mind. We had none. Not one. Not never. No divas. Never. Stephon Diggs was not a diva. No.
I agree.
Von Miller was not a diva. James Cook is not a diva. We have not had a diva.
Yeah. We haven't had a guy getting arrested and making a scene. We haven't had and look, I think when we're thinking of the term diva, I think most people are thinking Terrell Owens. You know what I'm saying? Me doing bench presses in the driveway, always in front of the media, got to have the ball 40 times a game, like that type of guy.
If I look like that, though, I walk around in a thong. I'm sorry.
God dog it.
You walking there what?
did we get to you in a thong, bro? What?
Bro,
You said Terrell Owens. If I
Nobody
look like
wants
that,
to. Nobody wants to memorize you in the.
yes,
thong,
they
bro.
would. If I look like Terrell Owens, they would.
Oh my
No,
god!
they would not.
Terrell Owens didn't even walk around in the thong, bro.
That we know of.
Oh my god!
Why are you thinking about that right now? Why is that in your mind,
bro? What is happening right now?
No,
You know,
but
no, get to the point.
hey, you stay behind that curtain over there, Wizard of Oz.
I don't want to hear it. Talk about thongs and stuff like that, man. Get to the
Dong,
point.
dong, dong, dong. Okay,
Don't ever make it into a song, my
but
boy.
I didn't. Cisco did. It's not my fault. His is. But anyway, no.
You pitting it.
Nah, Diggs, he gave us his best years. He gave us, it just didn't work out in the long run. He gave us everything he had. And why do we have to summate his whole career with one catch and this? We don't even know what this really was.
Right.
Everybody got their theory, but what is it? What is this? Nobody knows. Some people say, Josh and Haley got in an argument the night before. That was the report. Some people say he was mad at Josh because Josh backed up Brady or whatever. He was mad because he didn't want. Nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to take this to our grave because Steph ain't going to tell you, Josh ain't going to tell you, and probably nobody else heard it because nobody else looked. There was no fight. There was no weird look, no views, no nothing. They squashed it. Then next year you follow what McDermott saying, I'm very concerned. Not about that. You're concerned because of something else that we didn't know about until much later.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, this is another positive. You'll like this one. You'll love this one. Anybody that Kev, you'll love this one too. You ready?
All right,
okay, I was thinking Antonio Brown. He said Terrell Owens. I said, no, I can go darker than that. Much darker than that. But no, he worked with McDermott for 8 years. That's a gold freaking star in itself. He was McDermott for 8 years. You got to be liaison between no answers, between players, between culture, between I don't know how to draft, between this and he had to stomach it for 8 years.
That's true.
So yeah, you're gonna get that, and as much as I said I don't hate McNear, I think he's such he's the one I want to hoist the trophy since he's been here, since we had our rise. I still know what Beane's done for him. I know what he's done. You have a wingman when you have that chronically drunk guy, and this guy's got to keep ushering you away. He knows when it's time. He comes in to push you away. That's what Beane has to do. Well, he was. I think he just finally lost his mind. Another Kwanjo? Only if it's Cyril.
Cyril. Yeah.
Let's see. So who was I? Okay, so I'm sure a lot of people out there who work for me and people, like you say, you don't know what McDermott's like behind the scenes. If he's the opposite of what we saw, that means he's a nice guy because I can't say it on the show, but in press conferences, he was one. Yeah, he was one. One of one.
How he appeared in the press conferences, imagine him being more vocal with that same demeanor and attitude in practices and stuff like that. I mean, that's what you would read in the Tyler Dunn report.
And I thought about it.
Okay.
I said, this is why I don't care. Because I am that guy. I am that guy. No, I am.
Are you really?
Yeah, oh yeah. In a professional setting, that's why when we first did the show, I said, I don't want to do business with you, dude. Because I know how when we first started, not on you, but I'm a monster when it comes to this. And like when I became a supervisor, my people, they'd be like, they were like my coworkers like, Key, I didn't know you were funny. When did you get sense of humor? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, why don't you let the people know? I said, they don't deserve to know. And I was dead serious.
Whoa.
I said, they don't deserve to know until I see how they work. Because I don't give you my personality until I respect you. So if I don't respect you, you're not going to know me. And that's how I am at work. So my team knew this is my team mantra. And we didn't need to have one. I gave my team a mantra in our first team. I said, we don't accept excuses because we don't make them. And I was dead serious. If you're late to work, don't tell me why. Just take the point. If you're late from lunch, don't tell me why. Take the point.
Yeah.
If you fail to call, don't write it up. Let me look at the email. I'm not going to challenge it till I look at the email.
Mm-hmm.
And I got reported on and third, and my boss is like, did you say? I'm like, yeah. They're like, your team, I don't care if they like me or not. I don't care. I made them do stuff that nobody else made them do. But then at the end of it, when they got into it, they were like, why is nobody ever yelling at us, our team? I said, because I saw it coming. I knew it was coming. I don't care if you like me or not. I'm trying to keep you a job. Yeah. I'm trying to make you better. This is not a friendship.
Right.
I'm here to keep my job, and I'm here so you feed your kids.
Yep.
So, it was funny because I told my mom, I was joking, and she's like, wait, I would never want to work for you. And y'all know how me and my mom are. She's like, no.
If Mom Dukes don't want to work for you, bro?
She was like, nope.
Wow. Nah.
And I mean, that's just my dark side,
Yeah.
and I get it. It's like, okay, what he said? Who said this? Oh, now I see why I was fired. Thanks, Keith. My bad. You can use him as a reference though. Well, see, the thing is, I'm tough because my sports background, and we've all been replaceable.
Yeah.
We don't want other people. We want the best out of you. I don't care if you cry. I need you tougher because the world don't care about you.
Right.
T tells me all the time. Ken's 8. He's 7. And I yell at him like, when is he not going to be 8? When is he not going to be 30? Yeah. When am I not going to be here anymore? He has a stand on his own. That's what today is for. So I say a lot of stuff and joke on this show. I'll be joking around a lot, but life ain't no game. It's not a game. So when I look at McDermott and Beane, I'm like, okay, you could be tough. You could be an asshole all you want, but I better get a trophy. I better become my best self. That's why people went to New England and they said, you know what? I hate it here, but I'm winning.
Media hated press conferences because you never got anything out of them.
He was like, what color is the sky? Green. Next.
Right.
And see, that's the thing. Like, there's guys that give you press the sound bites, right? Ryan and Raheem Morris. They give you all those inspirational Jameis Winston type things, and Mike Tomlin. But then there's guys that don't talk word crap, but they deliver results. So McDermott was delivering results, but they're kind of stagnating now. And I don't blame Beane for that stuff. But when I thought about it, I said, why is he still here? So this is kind of where I try, and I text you. I said, I need you to help me with the victim part.
Okay.
Because in my mind, I'm saying I can't subscribe to that because while I do agree that it's not just him. I mean, you had to be blind. Stevie Wonder could see it.
Yeah.
Helen Keller could hear and see what's going on in the Bills. But I can't, because I'm like, okay, like I just said, Joe Brady stayed. He was the hottest offensive coordinator in the name in the game and the head coach when he went to interview. And he stayed. Beane, I did my research and I had this dossier on my phone. I'm probably you're going to see me looking at my phone, but whatever. In the GM power ranking, he's 7th. How between 2020 and now, how many GM vacancies there have been?
Yeah.
About 17 or so. That's about 40%.
Yeah.
Every time one of those got fired, guess what? After 2020, I picked that year because that's the year that Josh blew up. That's the year, if you really want, I'm out of here.
Right.
I got to go because I hate it here. I hate it. And he's 7th. And Scott.
Yeah, Scott again. Thank you, Scott.
Scott, this day ends after this show. You know that, right? There's nothing after this.
Scott, real quick. Scott says, what is your prediction for this year's record? And do you think we'll get past Kansas City to go to a Super Bowl? And what do you think of the new stadium so far? First things first. Yep. Predictions
for the year. I'm
going to go. How much you love predictions.
I know. My skin's like, I'm going to go. I'm going to go 13-4 again. I'm going to do 13-4 again because I know the schedule looks easy, but I don't believe in strength schedule at all. I don't think it exists. Like everybody says salary cap, and I have to allow them to. I don't think strength of schedule is real because there's going to be a team that everybody's like they're garbage, and there's going to be a team that they think is really good, and they're going to have an injury or something like that where the ebb and flow is off. So I'll say that just to allow for two extra games that we don't see, 2 or 3 maybe. Even we might win again that we don't think we're going to win. So, don't quote me. That's loose. What do you think?
I got him 16-1.
Damn.
I think if
I'm sorry.
Stay with me now.
Perfect.
Right. So if you look at the schedule, they have 2 Thursday night games, which means they get 2 of those quasi buys. Right. And they have a week 7 bye, which is basically the middle of the season. They're going to be plenty rested throughout the season in terms of ability to, get home and heal from a game. You know what I'm saying? That last year there were definitely some situations where they didn't get a lot of rest. The year before, for sure, they didn't get a lot of rest in certain situations. But I think the way the schedule plays out, all of the hard games being at home, all of the away games that you're playing are easy teams or teams that don't have great quarterback play. The defense has gotten better. There's way more depth on the defensive line. The secondary should be better this year. I mean, I have no reason to believe that realistically any team other than the Ravens are going to pose that much of a threat in the regular season. So I actually have the Bills losing week 1 and then just going on a run the rest of the season. And the reason I don't think the Bills are going to lose to the Eagles is because I think it's too late in the season for the Eagles to really care. And I also think the Bills will have the 1 seed locked up by then.
You gotta look at the screen.
Then he's like 16-1 for sure. Yeah, right. But see, this is the point. Like, this is a clear picture into what we're about. Like, we love the Bills. We think they can win 13 to 16 games, but we want to pick these things apart because it's critical thinking. We can be better in certain areas, and when you take into context everything that goes into the schedule that we have, everything that goes into when we play these teams, where we play these teams, it's totally logical to think you can go 16-1. You don't have to be a super fan to think that.
If we lose to the Ravens, I'm gonna get straight like, hell yeah, 16-0, baby. 16-0.
Right.
I'm not gonna count the first week. That's just practice.
Nobody here go Dorothy. Oh, she came in live. What's going on, Dorothy?
Just because I said Ravens.
She almost never comes in live saying nobody's scared of the Ravens.
No, she probably went through. Okay. She went on break at work. She's like, oh, somebody said Ravens. Wait a minute. Who do I got to curse out?
What up, Chris? Roy says 16-1. Holy. That was too short. Holy. Here we go. As a pessimist, I can't handle that. Donnie says if Beane would give Allen receivers like that, we would get a ring. Beane loves mediocre receivers. He thinks Allen can do it all.
He's talking about it was a comment earlier where somebody was talking about the Chiefs for elite wide receivers. I think it was it Donnie up top? Go down some. Right? Yeah, right there. Donnie Foster. Right to the right.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Says KC has 4 elite wide. I want to get to the other 2 questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
KC has elite wide receivers, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Worthy, Kelsey. Our secondary will get burned by healthy KC receivers. Keep in mind, they also have Sky Moore on the team too. Sky Moore as a 4th receiver is very dangerous. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Counting on Sky Moore to be anything more than a 4th receiver, not cool. But when you got all these guys in front of them, that's a dangerous combination. Very
Record scratch.
Oh boy. Okay. All right.
We got somebody on this team that everybody says is meh. I mean, he pretty much did everything you could ask for in a wide receiver. What do you think would happen if he was their 4th wide receiver? Number 10, Mr. Shakir.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. But see, that's what I'm saying. When you're talking about guys on our team who we wish we had, dude, imagine some of the people on our team that were on these teams.
Yeah.
Imagine what that would look like. So, I mean, you don't always look at other teams and say, I want that. Look at what we have. Minford, okay, whatever. I mean, you can do that. But my
how
point
many players do we have like that?
Well, no, that's my point. But when people say we don't have anything, I'm telling you, we have some things, but you got to compliment it. Like, Rousseau would be a nice piece on a lot of teams. Rousseau would be a nice piece.
I don't know about that.
I think he would.
I mean, yeah, okay. When you say a nice piece, I in my mind, I immediately hear a complimentary piece.
Yeah.
I'm still not paying a complimentary piece $19 million a year.
A $20 million defensive end when the highest paid, when you got paid at half of Myles Garrett. I mean, I'm fine with that.
I'd rather, if I had a guy like that, I'd rather trade him in the last year of his contract, get assets that I can use to trade up and get a Jared Verse or get a
which is what they did. But my point but that's my point. If you looked at what he's supposed to do, if you looked at teams that are run deficient, teams that really care about stopping the run, and they need that one piece to stop the run, that's the guy. And that's my point. The people look at the Bills and say, we don't have this and that, but we don't have an identity. And we were called a clown for me saying that before. Yeah. I'm going to say it again.
Well, okay, wait. Before you get too much into that.
No, I'm not into that. I'm done with that. But
okay. So Scott's other question, and do you think we can get past Kansas City to get to a Super Bowl?
No.
Again,
no.
No. The challenge with Kansas City is in Sean McDermott's mind. It's not the team. I think the team has shown that they can compete. They can go toe to toe with Kansas City any day, right? They always beat them in the regular season. They lose to them in the playoffs.
It's on the refs.
No, it's not the refs.
No.
We got to stop that too.
No, it's not.
We got to
I
stop
proved
calling
that.
out the refs.
I actually did prove that last time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I get that some of the calls seem funky. I get that. But in that same fashion, we got calls against the Ravens that we had no business getting. You know what I'm saying? Home field advantage. It just is what it is. The idea you want to have, though, going into those games against Kansas City is you have to do what the Eagles did. You have to do what teams did to the Patriots when they were winning the Super when they were winning multiple Super Bowls. The Giants went in there and punched them in the mouth in that second game. The second game, Giants against Patriots, they punched them in the mouth. They had a couple of deep passes to Mario Manningham that just deflated the Patriots defense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what you got to do. You got to have a defensive line that can rush up the middle and make Tom Brady move. Same thing for the Eagles. Defensive line, get Patrick Mahomes off his spot. You have to have the ability to show dominance in the game for the refs to be like, if we help these guys now, it's going to look obvious. We can't do that. That's what happened in the Super Bowl. These dudes is too good. Look at what they're doing to these Chiefs. Mm-hmm. We can't call them on that. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be too obvious. There's too many people recording this. We can't get caught making these calls and trying to give this team that, you know what I mean? Not saying that refs do that kind of stuff, but that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take your head coach making better decisions against this team in the second half of these games. In the first half, in the playoffs, Sean McDermott has shown a willingness to be aggressive, shown a willingness to take chances, shown a willingness to do what it takes to put points on the board. In the second half, he is tighter than I don't know what.
He's what?
He is. He comes out tight. That's
right.
What he does. I mean, hey. But no, I mean, I think they can, to your point. I think they can.
He can't help himself. He can't help himself.
He can't. But I don't know. It's all about you know, the game plan, as you said. I mean, they can beat them. They could have beat them every time they played them, except for once.
Yeah.
But you know, it's all in the game plan. It's on the swagger, and that's the thing they're missing. They're talking about identity, culture, and all this. Where's your swagger? Unbutton the top of your shirt one time.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gotta go fully undressed. You ain't gotta have your old chest out. You ain't gotta do it.
Look at the comments.
What happened?
Oh,
yeah, I was about to say you ain't gotta go Terrell Owens. You know, you don't do that.
Yeah, I know. I seen that coming. I gotta go to the comments.
You ain't gotta have your chesticles out, but at the same time, at the same time, you gotta know you belong. That's the thing. Right. You gotta know you belong, and they haven't shown they belong yet.
Yo, Mark, exactly. That's golden, bro.
So what do you think about the stadium?
So I was able to go and see the stadium from Hamburg, mm-hmm. and like up in the hills of Hamburg, and the stadium looks very regal from afar. It's huge, first and foremost, but seeing the way that it kind of pops up above all the trees and any, you know, buildings in the area and all that kind of stuff. First of all, Orchard Park doesn't have a lot of tall buildings to begin with, but the way that it just kind of, it just with the canopy that, you know, that part that hangs over and the way it kind of waves in the middle there, like it looks very regal. It doesn't look like, and I'm not trying to diss Buffalo, but I remember what Buffalo used to look like before all these renovations and stuff like that, and what Pagula did downtown and everything. Like it doesn't feel yet like it belongs here. You mm-hmm. know what I'm saying? It feels like it's gonna be one of those buildings in Western New York, I'll say, that causes all of these other buildings to up their game. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the vibe I get from it.
Think the fact that it's next to Ralph Wilson is what it is. I really do.
What do you mean?
Because if you sit in Ralph Wilson, it's a mind screw. It really is. If you sit in Ralph Wilson, you're in the 300 level. You're looking straight out to your, what is that? The north.
Yeah.
You're looking at cars. You can see cars from the 300 level, eye level.
Yeah.
Where is that? Because people don't realize when they say that the stadium's below ground, they don't understand. It really is below ground.
Yep.
When you go in there, you go down to come back up a little bit.
Right.
You know, and if you're at 1, you're just screwed. You're at 100 level, you're underground.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see how low that one is, and I thought about it when you said how high this one is, I'm like, you put it in context next to what we in your mind is supposed to be high. So you're thinking, oh, that's high. No. This one is high because it's on top of the ground. And like you said, with the wave and all that stuff, this is a big stadium. It really is a big stadium.
Yep.
But like when I saw Soldier Field, Soldier Field is retrofitted, which is actually a pretty groovy looking, because it has the old facade around it, but you can see the new stadium retrofitted inside of the facade. So it's almost like having the rock pile on Jefferson and putting this stadium inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty cool too. But yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's all right. Like I said, I don't really, I don't really revel in that stuff. I revel in the winning that's going to happen inside of it. Yeah. And that's. I mean, honestly, they could go play at the South Park for all I care. If they're winning, I don't care. That's why I
get some baseball bleachers and put them in a field somewhere.
Bam, that soccer field over there on the side. Bam, let's do
it. D says, y'all give the Eagles too much credit. They wasn't even the 1 seed in the NFC. Detroit was. I would expect the Giants fan to be offended by that. I would. And that's not a dig. I mean, you shouldn't like the Eagles. I respect it.
We said that the Patriots suck, and they beat us every they beat us like a drum.
Right, for sure.
I'm glad they're tearing the stadium down because Tom Brady is the winningest quarterback in that stadium, and I'm not really with it.
Yeah. I think what makes me look at the Eagles so much the way I do is 3 Super Bowl appearances in the last 7 years and 2 Super Bowl wins. And I mean, to me, that's the bottom line of all of it. You want to talk about another team that's had dominance in this decade, so to speak, just on the other side of the fence in the NFC. We've had to watch the Chiefs do it. It's been the Eagles after that, and then a bunch of single shot teams here and there. Tampa Bay, the Rams. You know what I'm saying? That kind of get those those one-offs. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But ultimately, it's been the Eagles, Chiefs, and the Patriots in there. I think one time, and then Rams and Bucks.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, when I was talking about you got another one you're going
to? So Steve had a point about you saying we don't have an identity. He says we do got an identity, good enough to not be good enough. McDermott made.
Well, yeah, I mean that goes into that kind of goes right into where I was going with Beane.
Perfect.
If it's so bad here, if it's just so cracked, horrible. I didn't see him, any mention of any rumblings, any rumors, anything of Beane maybe thinking about going. We heard that with Dayball. We heard that with Brady. But Beane, no. So I thought to myself, I said, what is it? Is it the team's salary? Because every team that fired a GM had beaucoup bucks, $40 million, 30. And you can go to those teams and say, you know what? I can build this how I want to build it. Because every one of those teams that I looked at, what did the next GM get to do? Instill his philosophy. Defensive line, offensive line, skill players, whatever the case may be, full autonomy because they were desperate. Jacksonville had a quarterback. Oakland had speed. They had young players. What do you want to do? You can go. I mean, you can go down the laundry list. You had Justin Herbert in the Chargers. They fired their guy. If you really want to be, no, I wouldn't do that. Never mind. I was going to say you could go to the Jets. So they had like $100 million in salary cap. Yeah. But they had Rodgers as well. So never mind. But is it talent? Is it the climate of Buffalo that he loves so much? I mean, something's keeping him here. And my thing is, I suspect that he either likes it here because of stability. I drafted Josh Allen. I did that. And the fans are like, he did that. And is it Sean? Because Sean hired him. Sean put the word in for him. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to do what he does. Because guess what? I mean, does he doubt himself? Is there a belief that he isn't pulling the strings? Yeah, of course. People say, he's not doing anything. He's just sitting there. But guess what? Does he want to? Is he cool with that?
Right.
I think he knows he's got it made. A fan base says, I got you, Josh. The fan base is happy with being competitive fresh off the drought. You could have given them whatever they wanted. These guys did it.
Right.
They did it for us. We finally got one. Yes. So, I mean, you think about when I was a sophomore in high school, that was the last time I got to see the Bills play in the playoffs. A sophomore in high school. Us. We're 41 now. We were 15. So, sorry. So, my point is, did you know, this is funny. Did you know that my 8-year-old son was born a month to the day before our first playoff game?
Wow.
A month to the day. I was 32 when I had them. I was 15 last time I saw a playoff game. That was 2 decades of nothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're going through that, when you're older than us, and you're like, oh, we finally did it. We were so close. We finally cracked the seal. Who did that? McDermott. And he knows that the fan base loyalty plus the lame duck owner plus a franchise quarterback equals I can get my kids I can get supersized meals from Burger King as long as I want. I can do whatever I want with them because I got stability. He said, sometimes, why is it that they always talk about loyalty? Why is it that everybody talks about the loyalty of our fan base? Because they know as long as they endear to us, they ain't gonna go nowhere. It's people like shows like this to say, you know what? Good enough ain't good enough.
Right.
We see past that. But you go to the stadium and fan, they'll shoot us down. They'll curse us out because we say this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's a lot of the reason why I bring up the family conversation.
Yeah.
If you have a sibling or something like that, like the idea of loyalty, I think kind of gets overblown in a sense when you're talking about a particular team. Fan bases, and really, I think a lot of this is kind of born from the political parties.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You get so heavy into politics, you got to pick a side, you have to have a stance, you have to have an opinion, and you have to stick to it. And then you start getting into debates with other people, and then all of a sudden you find people that agree with you, and now you're like in some sort of invisible war with this other political team, when realistically everybody as a whole just wants a better life for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to do it the way they want to do
mm-hmm.
it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't think like that. We don't think, hey, they're just trying to get a better life for them and their children the same way we are. They want to do it their way, and they don't like the way we want to do it. What's the difference? They don't like the way we want to do it. We don't like the way they want to do it. It's the same difference. Right.
Yeah. I mean, Donnie, I agree, but tell me I'm wrong. You said 1 and 2 stars drafted in 9 years is nothing great. Allen and Cook are the only 2 stars being drafted in 9 years, and that's pathetic.
I wanted to bring this up too, because I saw a post yesterday. So the Bucks extended the contracts of Jason Light and Todd Bowles, right?
Yep.
And they were signed to a multi-year contract extension after just 3 years of winning the division. Just 3, right? So what does all this mean? This is a team that went to the Super Bowl and won it, 6 years ago? Somewhere in there, right? This is when Josh was here. So, yeah, about 6 years ago, I think is when they won. And they beat Pat Mahomes to do it. And in that period of time, they won that Super Bowl, and then they completely fell off the wagon after that. They didn't have a quarterback. They could barely keep people healthy. Guys are tiring all over the place. They still had good players, but they just weren't performing well, right? And so they get Todd Bowles. They go out and they get Baker Mayfield, and they're playing well, extremely well the last 2 years in particular, right? But the comparison to the Bills, and the reason I'm bringing this up is the Bucks, for a majority of their existence, has been horrible. Positively, absolutely, literally horrible. Same thing can be said for the Buffalo Bills. Because mind you, the Bucks won in 2002, right?
I was in college. Yeah.
Bucks won in 2002 when they had Derrick Brooks and Simeon Rice and those boys.
Yep.
So the Bucks have 2 Super Bowls that they've won. And if I'm not mistaken, those are the only 2 Super Bowls they've been to. Each time they've been to the Super Bowl, they won it, right? The Buffalo Bills have had just as long of an existence without a lot of success. We had that spurt in the 90s between 90 and 94. And then we had a pretty good team in 2003 that probably could have done big things if they had made it past the Titans. And then that was it. That's all we've had aside from the AFL championships in 64 and 65. So realistically, from a measurement of success, we both look at any success as, yeah, we got to keep that around, right? Now, this Bucs franchise just extended a GM and a head coach that were responsible for players like Mike Evans, Tristan Wirfs, Vita Vea, Antoine Winfield Jr., Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving, who blew up last year in fantasy. Like these are names in the league, right? And they've only been doing this for 3 years, but they said, you know what? We love it so much, we want to keep it going for as long as we can. They've been to one playoff game in 3 years. One. What the hell have they done to earn 3 more years? But they got it.
Mm-hmm. And that's why when people say McDermott's are going and he's a goner, they're not. There's no reason to when you talk about that. But I did look around and I did a background. I compared to peers. Howie Roseman, you know some of these guys. What team is Howie Roseman? Philadelphia. He's a Fordham Law grad. He's a turned cap analyst. Joined the Eagles in 2000 and rose to GM through contract mastery. Okay. So that's what Howie Roseman does. So we know he's a money guy. Les Snead. He's a former SEC tight end with an MBA. Earned his stripes as a scout with the Jaguars and Falcons before taking over the Rams in 2020.
You're going to hold this over Beane for life.
Well, no, maybe.
It's okay. It's
Brad Holmes, UNC defensive lineman who began in PR before ascending to scouting director.
Wait. I want to see if I can avoid this. Mr. Lewis, he said, what are y'all even talking about? I want to see if I can avoid this, right? Because usually we get people in here and they haven't listened to the whole entire show. They just kind of pop in and be like, y'all are clowns, right? Mm-hmm. We're talking about Brandon Beane and the job he's done. We're asking the question, does he deserve more credit or less credit? And the secondary discussion is whether or not Brandon Beane is a victim of circumstance or if he's a villain that attacks radio show hosts and does whatever he wants and has kind of ruined the salary cap and should be, bashed for it. That's what we're talking about, just so you know. All right, carry on.
I think he said earlier there's no comparison. They got a ring. I think he might be talking about Tampa Bay.
Well, he was talking about Tampa Bay. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Brad Holmes, UNC defensive lineman who began in PR before ascending to scout director and a GM in Detroit. Culture and draft minded. Eric DaCosta, the Ravens. One club executive who's been with the Ravens since 1996, shaped by Ozzie Newsome's patent value first philosophy. Brett Veach, wide receiver at Delaware, rose alongside Andy Reid from coaching intern to Kansas City GM, an aggressive offensive architect. Brian Gutekunst, they call him Goody, former small college safety, climbed Green Bay's front office over 20 years, now a quiet force behind a deep young roster. Brandon Beane, PR journalist to personnel in Carolina. Beane earned Buffalo's GM role through ops experience and culture-driven leadership style. He was a journalist. I don't see anywhere where it says he has an MBA in finance. I don't see anywhere. Let me see here. Let me go back again.
This is for Beane, right?
Beane. Howie Roseman didn't play football. Les Snead was a tight end at Auburn. Brad Holmes, defensive lineman, UNC. Eric DaCosta, Colby College. Brett Veach, Delaware. Brian Gutekunst, Wisconsin lacrosse. Brandon Beane played high school quarterback. I'm not coming at high school quarterbacks, whatever. But the point is,
Beane was an assistant GM in Carolina.
Under who?
I don't remember the guy's name.
Right.
But who the hell knows? Who knows Brian Gutekunst? Who knows that name?
A lot of people know him. Evidently, a lot of people know him.
Bro,
no, I'm not. I'm not
talking about the average fan. I'm not talking about people.
You're talking to a guy who didn't really know half these dudes before I really did my math.
Well, but that's my point. You asked me who the GM in Carolina was, as if I'm supposed to know that right off the bat.
What I'm saying is, everybody else has years of cultivation. They came up through PR and scouting director, then GM, then finance, and whatever the case may be.
If you look at his Wikipedia, he did too.
Who?
Beane.
No, he didn't.
He did it all in Carolina.
Okay. Yeah.
Go look it up. I'll look it up right now. I will pull it up for you so you can see.
But my point is this. He's the only coach. He's the only GM that didn't hire a coach.
Okay.
He was hired by the coach. The coach was installed before him.
All right, so real quick.
Go ahead.
So as a staff member / executive, his career history with Carolina Panthers, he was part of their personnel from 1998 to 2007.
Mm-hmm.
He was the director of football operations from 2008 to 2014.
Mm-hmm.
He was the assistant general manager from 2015 to 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after that, he became the Bills general manager. So
Right.
he was part of a team learning and growing with one team.
Right. He was part of a team, but these guys were vice presidents of finance, they were scouting directors. They were the guys that managed the guys and said, they put the finger and said, you know what, this is the one. And this is before they became GMs. And what I'm getting at is people say, you know, Beane's not drafting, he's not drafting this guy. He said, just like they don't trust Babbage to be a defensive coordinator on his own. They're saying, Beane, you need help, because put like this, why did they now give him Terry Gray, who was the vice president of scouting? They got the vice president
assistant.
Yeah, that's his assistant. And then the vice president of the other assistant, or whatever case may be, was the head of pro player personnel.
Mm-hmm.
So now he has these guys in there. So, and he has, I guess, my guy Overdorf is still there. I don't know. It's be 40 years for him now.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, the thing is, I'm not knocking him, but my thing is, our guy is the one that's just like, okay, I got to learn on the fly. I got to do this. I got to be guarded because I'm still learning, which is fine, because did you know out of the top 7, he's the second youngest. I didn't know he was only 48. I didn't know that. So I'm saying this to say, this old school nonsense, this, that, third, it's not him. But the thing is, he had the opportunity to go ahead and do something else. He made it. He made his name. People know who Brandon Beane is. If you look anywhere now, I will say, if you look anywhere you see Brandon, you'll see up and coming GM. Exactly. Mm-hmm. He was a front for like executive of the year or some nonsense like that.
Mm-hmm.
He could have did whatever he wanted. So to stay in Buffalo, that tells me that's why I was like, victim.
Yeah, but where else is he going to go? He drafted Josh Allen. They're still winning a bunch of games. You're saying it as if he's supposed to wash his hands of the Buffalo Bills situation and say, okay, I want another challenge and go somewhere else.
No, but what I'm saying is, if you have this name and you have an opportunity and you hate it that much, if you really hate it that much and you can do this, why would you not?
Well, that's why I'm coming with the victim argument, because I think realistically, even though people are lauding Brandon Beane and the job he's done with drafting Josh Allen and stuff like that, I think deep down Brandon Beane knows that what he's done here, the people around the league who really know what's going on in Buffalo don't see him that way. I wholeheartedly believe the rest of the league knows Brandon Beane is not really that dude. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to like drafting players, you know what I'm saying? And look, the fact that he went to one team, stuck with one team, grew up in that team's culture, and then that culture kind of spills over into the Buffalo Bills when Sean McDermott comes here, and then Sean brings Beane over here because it's all about culture at that point. To me, that really speaks to, we have a specific atmosphere that we're chasing here in Buffalo, and we want to establish that regardless of qualifications for anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Beane had enough of a title, had enough qualifications to get a job like being the GM of the Buffalo Bills when nobody else wanted it. Because that's the other part of this that we got to consider, right? Nobody else wanted that job. So it turns into a lot like, I'll put it like this. Ken Dorsey had no business being an offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
None. I felt bad for him because he was thrust into a position based off of Josh Allen's approval and Sean McDermott's recommendation, just for what? So that they could keep continuity with the offense originally. I
mean, see, that's the thing. I that's eye-opening, because I just couldn't give a damn. I really couldn't, because you had the opportunity to say, you know what? Nah, because I think we said it on the show. I think I said you were a lamb to slaughter from day one. You knew that.
Yeah.
And you could easily say, nah, get another fall guy. But you didn't. You took it.
I guess.
That's like we talked about, I think I said, you know, everybody has a peak at their job. Like, everybody's not meant to be a VP. So you got to know where your top out is.
Mm-hmm.
And when you step into those deep waters of offensive coordinator, defense, whatever to get head coach, whatever it is,
mm-hmm.
and you know you're not qualified, you know you're a dead man walking. Don't do that.
But what if okay, so I'm looking at his position as assistant general manager in Carolina, right? By the time he got the job in Buffalo,
mm-hmm.
Cam Newton was basically on his last legs there.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina was just about done with him. They were probably working on exit plans for him and his contract and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure Brandon Beane knew about all this.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at what the Carolina Panthers have been post Cam Newton, even up to now with the slight improvement of Bryce Young's play. They've been a terrible team. If I'm an assistant GM at that point, I'm looking at one of two situations. Either the GM in front of me is probably going to want to keep that job so he can draft a quarterback, or if I get this job, now I got to draft a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Both situations could be just as undesirable as being the only guy that the Buffalo Bills would be willing to call.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to being, like I said before, he knows that he's not all that. Like you said it. He knows that. He's not going to tell us that, but he knows that he's pretty much run his course. And for that, I can't feel bad for you. You're doing a job that a lot of people want to do, and a lot of people probably do better. Not me. I'm not saying that, but and there's a pay bump. Yes, there's a pay bump, but if that pay bump is not sustainable, I'd rather keep my salary. If I make $70,000 now, or I go to 150 next year and know I'm going in 2 years, I'll stay with my 70. I'm gonna make this for years to come. And I think that's the gotcha, because it looks great. You see those zeros, you're like, yo, let me get that check. But then you're like, how long can I make this stretch when I don't have a job? I think and that's why I take it back to how I started the show. I said, triple B, big baller Beane. You could use a negative B or positive B. It's up to you. But when you look at his body of work, do you really think that he's qualified to really lead this team to the next level, or is it going to be Sean McDermott's show? Because if it's Sean McDermott's show, it's always going to be Sean McDermott's show. It's all, because we're good enough to be good enough, and the nostalgia, like Kev said, nostalgia is done. No, it's not for us.
Yeah.
Yes. But go to the stadium and look at that. Nostalgia is not done.
Right.
It's not.
They're still living off.
It's an experience.
Yeah.
And it's a good time. It is. I'm not saying don't go out there and have a good time. I think
heck, Sean McDermott is living off the nostalgia of 2017.
Yeah. Yeah.
This entire franchise is built off of that right now.
Yep. It's loyalty of a fan base. If we place the loyalty, they'll endear to us.
Right.
And they'll always love us.
Yeah.
We got to really screw this up for them not to fall out of favor. We got to say something about their mama.
Right.
You better not say nothing about my mama. But anyway,
you know what's funny about that? I liken what happened to the Buffalo Bills fan base in 2017 to somebody getting some miracle job that they got by luck, pure luck, right? They entered a raffle for some job or something like that, and they were gifted this job, and they feel so thankful to have it that anything that they like, anytime they go to work and they have a bad day, they feel guilty for thinking that they have a bad day because they were so lucky to get this job. They were so lucky. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the mentality that a lot of fans now who refuse to say anything negative about the team live from. That's the thought process that keeps them in this place of, I've got to be okay with whatever Brandon Beane does. I've got to be okay with whatever Sean McDermott does, because at the end of the day, those were the guys that got me that job.
Yep.
Those were the guys that broke the drought. So I have to ride with them. Otherwise, I'm unappreciative for breaking the drought. It's not the case.
No, and that's why, I mean, you listen to other people talk about, and this is not being funny, about Fred Jackson, Kyle Williams, things like that. How long ago was that? Kyle Williams, I think, had a Pro Bowl or two, with Fred Jackson, he was okay. But when you think about those guys, they didn't do anything earth-shattering, but they're probably going to go on a wall. Why are they going to go on a wall, or whatever the Hall of Honor, whatever they're going to call it, is going to be, is because it's emotional. Now you got to strip the emotions back if you really want to analyze things that make it happen.
Yeah. Kev, I hope you're talking about Josh starting a coup. That would be, because that's the only way any of this is going to change.
I mean, sorry.
So there's another unconfirmed report. I'm still reaching out to a few people to confirm this, but basically things in the front office of the Buffalo Bills are probably not going to change. And there was also a report of a player specifically, talking about the condition of the Bills and their relation to the Sabres without Josh Allen. And I think to some degree, there's a very scary reality in that thought process, because we are probably 7 years away from that right now. We're 7 years away from this reality without Josh Allen, or without a Josh Allen good enough to still carry the team in the way that he does now, right? And if you've got a GM, whether he's a victim or a villain, doing the job that he's doing now with the salary cap and the player selection, and you've got a head coach that is still tight in tight situations in the latter rounds of the playoffs, it's hard to not feel stuck in the twilight zone to some degree. And that's not to say that nobody should have hope. I'm not trying to take that away from people. As soon as that ball is snapped on the first play of every game, I'm expecting the Bills to win. I want the Bills to win. So that's where my hope will sit. But outside of the stadium, outside of the football season, when I look at the entirety of what we've seen to this point, it is really hard to see an end to this.
And Donnie's last comment, he said, we need talent. They cheating us out of a ring. They need to start drafting difference makers and grabbing talent for free agency, not Trey White and Dane Jackson. Why waste money on guys who won't play? They won't? You sure about that?
I mean,
you sure about that?
These might not be guys we want to play.
That's what I'm saying. You sure they won't play?
Stay with me now.
That was actually excellent. I thought that was it. I'm like, that sounds like, oh, good job. Good job. You might not need the ball. We got him. But yeah, no, I definitely, Roy, I can tell you, I still find my only born child out of the way when 1 o'clock comes on a Sunday, if that's when they're playing. Get out of the living room. T knows, it's over with. And I forgot, to your point earlier when you were talking about, the Dorsey point and the Beane point. You want to cry?
No. Kev put a nice little twist on Donnie's point. He said he meant play well. He said,
yeah, there you go. But yeah, no, it was funny for the longest time, and even still, he'll look at the TV and be like, you know what? This is the team people go to learn how to do stuff, and they leave. She don't watch the Bills. She don't care nothing about the Bills. And for her to look at the game for 13 seconds and say, they're going to lose. Or, oh, he's good. He's out there. She'll say, he's a good player. He's gone. Every time. What is that? What's happening? And that's not even, I mean, you know how she is. She could say stuff just to piss you off, but at the same time, she really mean that. And that's what we've lived forever. You look at Paterka. Why are we getting rid of young talent on the Sabres? Why are the Bills getting old talent? Is this a Pagula thing? Does he want guys closer to his age? Does he not want to pay a 401k? What's this deal? So, I mean, it might be deeper than we all even think of. It's show and show. Kev said it's going to come down to Brady or McDermott. Guess what? I can tell you the answer to that is right now. I can tell you what the answer to that. It ain't going to be Brady.
No. So
if that's the case, you better figure out who your next offensive coordinator is going to be, because it's not going to be Brady. So Johnson McDermott, Michael Jordan before Pippen.
I mean, why can't James Cook be Pippen?
No, Michael Jordan ain't had no left. No, just joking. I had to.
Of course.
This is garbage. I had to. What's wrong with this dude?
Steve says, once we get past the wild card round, what holds us back, roster doesn't have enough elite players in the key moments, and the coaches are not creative or innovative enough to put scheme enough. Look, I thought it was enough in 2021. I thought I had seen enough in 2 playoff seasons to believe that we either needed a large infusion of talent or we needed significantly better coaching in key moments. I knew it then. And truth be told, if Sean McDermott pulled 13 seconds in some other city that was much bigger than us, he wouldn't have a job.
Where they weren't as loyal.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with loyalty, though.
But
like,
it does, because think about it. That's why the Bills fans, they all said it was Frazier. Tyler Dunn said it was McDermott. That guy said it was Bills fans. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I'm in the 300s. I'm at home. No, it wasn't. Our coach will never do that. Go to Philly and see if they'll say that. Go to the Giants and see if they'll say that.
Yeah.
Go to the Chiefs and see if they'll see that. Go. Even with Tom Brady, possibly the greatest quarterback of all time. Let him screw a game up. They will say it about him. Buffalo, you got grace. You're good to go. Those the bickering Bills can drive down Main Street right now, run every red light. Cop be like, whoop. Oh, sorry, Mr. Thomas. Oh, sorry, Mr. Kelly. Oh, just keep on. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Just bring it down under 100, please. That's what it is. But you know what? Go ahead. Let's wrap this up here.
Nate, it was. I'll be honest. It was probably a little more subtle for me because I really didn't. I wasn't aware of how much she did with the team. I actually didn't know she was running the team for most of the time until she wasn't, and then I found out, oh, she was doing all this. Oh, okay, and then and then she stopped, and then it was like, but she was it. He was the money. It was like reverse gold digger, kind of sugar daddy, kind of weird. Thank you, Kim. Just use him to get us our money. Right. But yes, Steve, that's correct. You know what? We get it, producer. We get it.
I didn't like it though. I didn't like the show. I didn't like the show. You know why? I don't like being salty.
Well,
I don't like being salty.
I think there's one thing that you need, Key.
He be trying to mess my reads up.
That's what it is. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to. That's why he was tapping the microphone. I want to say something, y'all. I'm really trying to get in early before the read so I can mess Key up.
Yeah,
I was trying to mess him up. I was trying to give him the alley oop so he could dunk it.
At least put the camera on yourself when you talking.
Nah,
right? I don't like being salty though, because it's just
the foolishness in this joint.
I gotta watch this now. I gotta watch this down. What can I find? Junie, what do I have? Let me try this water. No, that ain't it.
No, that ain't it.
I ain't get it. That ain't get it. No, that was trash. It was warm.
It's that Reed's tea.
It was that Reed's tea. You see how that came out?
Oh yeah, he put the camera on himself now when he says Reed's tea all suave.
Oh shit.
It's that Reed's tea.
Okay, Rico.
But that Reed's tea gets your voice nice and crisp. Refreshing, 1 part delicious, 2 parts healthy. That's what you can expect when there's only 4 ingredients. What do I know? I don't even drink tea, but let me tell you, that's a good drink there. What are you doing? Head over to Reed's. Get yourself a supply of the case or an individual. Why would you do that? Get the case. You won't be disappointed. What do I know? See for yourself. Reed's tea. Click that link in the description below and let them know PPP sent you.
All right. No, get out of there. All right. So, I want to stop sharing that, and I want to share this.
Wait, was that my picture of my thong?
Huh?
Nobody asked for that. No.
Please, no, God, no.
You do not want to see that.
You definitely don't.
So, really quick, this is our merch page here. We actually just added some embroidered joggers. Okay, we got these bad boys. I'll show them to you here. It's all truth, no sodium. Boom, we got the logo there. Boom, check this out. Right, we got them in black and we got them in navy. Okay, if you're looking to get some of the gear, this is where you want to go. All right, so if you go right back here, as you can see, we just put up the Let Him Cook t-shirt. We put them up. Put it on Key. Let him cook. So this is Key's favorite meme. We see it 50 million times in the Discord chat. So I figure we make a t-shirt out of it. We've got Ignis Raider t-shirts, which in Latin means fire the coach. So yeah, we got a bunch of stuff here to check out. You know what I mean? We got mugs, we got pull-ups. We
whoa,
we got zip-up pullovers.
Okay,
right? But I just wanted to show you guys this stuff because it's really cool, and we want to put stuff on our backs that that we like, that we rock with, and try to kind of take back the fashion scene in a sense. That would be nice, wouldn't it, for Bills and podcast fans? All right, so enough with that. Look, if you've enjoyed what you watched so far and you wanna do something for free to support the channel, all you gotta do is go to our YouTube channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, also hit that bell, make that thing
Ring-a-ling-a-ling.
so that you can get notifications when we send notifications. Like, I was having an issue earlier this week with trying to get into Adobe Premiere Pro, so I wasn't able to get the Madden post-game press conference out there on Tuesdays like I usually do, but it came out last night. It actually came out last night at midnight, and I think Dorothy was the first person to react to it. We got a few more reactions to it today. People are loving this thing, but here's the deal. You gotta be a member to see our Madden content. All right, we are literally running this Buffalo Bills franchise on Madden as if I was Sean McDermott. Well, I'm not trying to be Sean McDermott. I am taking the role as the head coach, and Keys is the role of the GM, and Junie is the role of the owner. We do press conferences, we do all that kind of stuff. We do live in-game chat, all that kind of stuff. I'm running kind of long here, but I just want you guys to know what you're missing out on.
A pink slip.
And please stay tuned for the owners press conference.
Yeah, that's coming real soon. All right, so here's the deal. $1.99 for the membership. It's the lowest we could possibly go. You got to get in where you fit in. Other than that, this has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the I'm sorry. Basketball Truth and Knowledge, our producer Junie's podcast. He's also got a gaming channel, Babyface Assassin 21 on Twitch. He's uploading the content from his Twitch onto YouTube. So if you're waiting for it on YouTube, that's what's going on with that. All right. Other than that, we got a jet. This has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the All Truth, No Sodium Takes. I have been your co-host, Aramis.
40 Keys.
Pushing the button. Yo.
All right. Y'all have a great night.
Yeah.